Hello, a very sick boy here, and today we're going to be talking about the new King Krule album, The Use. King Krule is a British musician, indie misfit, who's released a lot of music, though not all under the same kind of moniker. There's been Zoo Kid, there's been King Krule, and there's also been Archy Marshall, his real name, which he released a new place to drown under, which I think allows for a lot more variety. He seems to go for different sounds on different projects, which I think in the long run has kind of made him the most unique musician in Britain, at least in terms when you compare him to other white boys playing guitars. It's been a long time since there's been a new King Krule album. It's been 4 years since 6 Feet Beneath the Moon, his debut, came out, a very kind of post-punk heavy album with some really great tracks, and I would still say it's one of the strongest albums to come out this century, at least from a new musician. So when it came to this new album, The Use, I was really hoping that you'd be able to kind of mesh these two different worlds, kind of dreary, depressing nature of A New Place to Drown, along with this kind of like strong songwriting, witty lyrics, punk attitude that he's shown on his King Krule projects. And if I'm being honest, I'm really quite surprised by The Use. I was a fan of a lot of Archy Marshall's other music, but how organic it feels, how these kind of, like I say, these two different worlds have kind of merged feels so natural and as if it was inevitable. Definite evolution going on here. It's not the same kind of music that he's been doing before. He's incorporated some new elements, most notably the jazz influence, which can be heard in a range of tracks here. Check One, the first single from this album, was probably kind of the best example, I would say, mainly due to how minimal the beat is on that song. It kind of gives it the spotlight to kind of show itself off, and I didn't really feel disappointed. Any kind of new album that comes out that incorporates jazz into it seems to always get compared to The Pimp a Butterfly, and while that's not really an insult to King Krule, because, well, To Pimp a Butterfly is one of the best albums to drop arguably ever, there's a lot more going on than just, hey, let's get some saxophones on here. And I'm probably saying that just because a lot of what King Krule has done before does return on The Use, but it seems to kind of be a lot stronger. Emergency Blimp is probably one of my favourite songs of the year, which is no doubt due to how punky it is, but it also feels very damaged, as if it's been like through the washing machine at points. The feedback that pops up during the song is almost nightmarish, kind of like Aphex Twin's kind of 90s horror stuff, kind of like what he done on Come to Daddy. And it's on that track where you can kind of get a feel for what this album is trying to be and what it's trying to say. It's very much kind of like a psychological analysis of who Archy Marshall is, what he's made out of, and what he sees himself as, how he's managed to cope with all these different problems. Specifically, Emergency Blimp seems to be about his insomnia. There's got a few kind of nightmarish lyrics that are on here and on the rest of the LP that kind of feel very gritty, and I feel like they're kind of more than just shock value. There's some imagery on this track that is much like the rest of the imagery on here. It seems to be kind of very dark due to what it's trying to talk about, specifically about kind of a lyric that kind of points towards kind of self-harm, maybe not to do with Archie himself, but this kind of like image you might expect to kind of witness during like a really bad dream. And if you quite like the jazz and you quite like the punk, then when it comes together it meshes so well. Dumb Surfer, another single released before this album comes out, is probably one of the strongest tracks on here. I find myself coming back to it time and time again. Everything about it just feels very rough and very kind of assertive. It feels kind of like a whole kind of like ignorance is bliss kind of mantra that is like running through it. Slush Puppy is like juxtaposition kind of embodied, the kind of like definition, at least when it comes to this album. It's so very like beautiful. I love the vocal delivery. OK Kaya, if I'm saying that correctly, their vocals are kind of pitched down, and I think I kind of confused them very much for King Krule's when I first listened to it, but they kind of both kind of intertwine very well, and it leads to a track that manages to kind of say something that it'll try and say for the rest of them, but say it in a way that's interesting. Cadet Limbo kind of ties into this kind of, when it comes to at least vocal delivery. Like I say, I'm very fond of how kind of rough King Krule's voice is, but on here it's very floaty, as if he's kind of floating through space, as it were. It's a very kind of interstellar track that kind of touches upon, not very subtly, but it still doesn't take away from just how quality a listen it is. And while this album is very kind of personal, and touches upon the inner psyche, also touches upon kind of relations, which it does with this kind of very romantic vibe that it kind of embodies. And that old tiny piano at the end just kind of goes to show how King Krule has tried his very best to make sure that over the kind of hour long, or even more than that duration of this album, that there's enough going on that it doesn't ever get too boring. And the lyrics themselves start to get very kind of strange, like they always are kind of cryptic and you never really know what King Krule's trying to say. But on some tracks like Vigil, it almost feels like some kind of fever dream, like somebody's managed to get the transcript of it. That's not to say that they're never lovely at all, especially when it comes to these two tracks. Bermondsey Bosom, Left and Right, the first one told in French and the other translated to English by Archy's dad, are very kind of, they're it's stunning, it's creepy, and it's just again kind of, you don't really know what's trying to be said. There's a kind of glitchy kind of not so much glitchy delivery, but more like kind of ordering of saying paradise and parasite, and kind of a you and me against the world kind of quote. There's really not much in the way of criticisms I can make about this album. I feel maybe on the latter half that some tracks could have been a bit shorter, and that some of them do feel kind of similar at points, but I think whether it's instrumentals or lyrically, everything seems to kind of stand on its own. And I guess overall you can kind of say that the album is quite disconcerting. While it never kind of feels totally dreary all the way through, whenever it is very kind of unnerving. I can definitely see this being an album that I come back to in the future, especially during this year when it comes to making an album of the year list. And when it comes to kind of an overall rating, I'm feeling a strong 8 to a light 9 on this one. Hopefully I've managed to word myself well enough, and if you feel differently, if you agree with me, just let me know and we can discuss it further in the comments. But until next time, take care, stay hydrated, and I'll see you next time.